Hello once again, and welcome to the third edition of Leadership Conversation Series, a production of Leadership Media Group that highlights articles geared towards finding a pathway for Nigeria. I am Martin Tacho. Today, we will be looking at articles from a number of Nigerian entrepreneurs, development experts, and activists with entertainers. First is Adebola Williams, who wrote an article titled "How to End Minority Rule in Nigeria Ahead of the Next Election." We will look through it. Then another masterpiece from Darey Art Alade, a songwriter and entertainer whose article entitled "End SARS, a Missed Opportunity, Also a New Beginning," is on our cards today. The ever-vibrant Ayisha Osori, who authored the book "Love Does Not Win Elections," wrote in on a Wednesday leadership edition titled "Women and Time for Business Unusual in the Political Space." We shall talk about that in today's episode. Then, the last writer for the week is Eedris Abdulkareem, whose piece entitled "Youth, Women Can Take Out the Old Brigade" is fresh in our today's newspaper edition of Friday. Look it up as we dissect it with my discussants on the show today. Leadership Newspaper Online Editor Bode Badebo.
Hello,
you're welcome.
Martins. Thank you so much. It's nice to be back, Martins.
And then Leah Fatima Twaki, Content and Social Media Officer.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, let's start with Leah. Adebola Williams wrote, "How to End Minority Rule Ahead of the Next Election." Who are actually the minorities in Nigeria today?
The minority are the few political elites that are in position who have held the power of this country in their hands and leaving the middle class, who are the majority, to be on their own without being involved in the electoral processes, the political positions in this country.
Let's look at your own view, Bode. Adebola Williams, "How to End Minority Rule Ahead of the Next Election." How do you consider that article as a wake-up call?
The middle class in Nigeria, who have become aloof over time, must come and be part of the process, because one of the tenets of democracy is popular participation. The moment you remove popular participation from democracy, you don't have a democracy. So it's a wake-up call for the inactive middle class to join the people at the grassroots who have been voting, albeit uninformed. Yes, the uneducated and semi-educated people at the grassroots come out en masse to vote, but they vote blindly at times. They don't even understand manifestos of parties. They don't understand what a contestant is standing for. They only vote largely based on some pecuniary gains.
Well, that's great. Now let's go back to Leah again on the second article of the day, which was on Tuesday. Darey Art Alade, songwriter and entertainer, he wrote, "End SARS, a missed opportunity and a new beginning." If I would ask you personally, what did End SARS mean to you when it was happening?
End SARS was a period where Nigerian youth brought out their voice in mass, showing their plight on how they have been left behind in this country in electoral processes. Nigerian youth gather without a leader, because they believe that at the end of the day, a leader will definitely emerge by the trust the people have in them.
Bode, do you have your own opinion on Darey Art Alade's piece on "End SARS was a missed opportunity and a new beginning"?
Yeah.
Where did we miss the opportunity in the whole movement?
The whole essence of the protest or the campaign was, defeated. The End SARS movement at that period in time was to call a global attention to police brutality in Nigeria, and as well demand end to police brutality. But at the end of the day, the protests were hijacked by miscreants, some political jobbers, and it turned violent. Lagos, Abuja, and some other cities, lives were lost, properties were destroyed. So at that point, we've missed the opportunity of the real intention of the movement, which called attention to police brutality and as well demanded end to police brutality of innocent Nigerians.
So where can we gauge the new beginning?
Well, I think it's high time We know that Nigerian youths are no longer docile. Nigerian youths are creative. Nigerian youths are necessary ingredients in national development. Hence, there is a need to bring them closer by the government, bring them closer, involve them in the scheme of things, so that we don't get to witness the last experience of the NSAS protest. We don't get to experience it again. If youths are adequately represented in all spheres of governance.
So let's go to Wednesday. Our writer for Wednesday was Ayisha Osori, a very vibrant lawyer, journalist and author. She authored a book back then, some years ago, Love Does Not Win Elections.
Exactly.
She's gender sensitive. And this time around, she wrote on Wednesday, it's time for women to come together for business unusual in the political space. Leah, business unusual, women happen to be more in population to men, but there's hardly, in our National Assembly, we have less than 30 women represented there. In the State Assembly too is also another woeful number. There's no woman that has ever been elected as governor in Nigeria. How would you buttress this expression?
Ayisha Osori pointed out the fact that women have been trying to do politics or run electoral processes just like the men. We the women, we have forgotten that we are unique in our own way, that we do things with our own strength. We have the capability and the strength to bring out a unique electoral processes that we can be involved in, and then have women represented equally in electoral processes and political positions.
Is it true that women really don't like it?
Yes, that's one of the plight with women. But I think at this moment, we have seen that being against ourselves has not really worked, and doing politics just like the way the men do has not really yielded good results. So it is time for women to embrace themselves, campaign for one another in order to be in political positions, in order not to be marginalized or left behind.
All right, Bode, it's a gender-sensitive issue. Women and time for business unusual. Ayisha Osori, she's a gender advocate. Do you believe that women have the strength to take Nigeria to the promised land?
Yeah, I think that's what Ayisha Osori is trying to point out, that it will be business unusual for women to come out to challenge the present order.
Ironically, Ayisha Osori lost elections for the National Assembly in 2014, despite her pro-women hype.
Yes, I remember.
What could have been responsible for that?
I think she was not part of the main election. She lost in the primary, the party level primary election.
She didn't cross the threshold.
Yes, and I want to believe that was what informed Addition to write her book then, Love Does Not Win Election. It means that people will just see you, they greet you, they like you on the street. But when it's time for you to contest, you now know that you are not worth the salt at the end of the day. So there is a need to mobilize, there is a need to be involved in the scheme of things, there is a need to belong to a political party, there is a need to build alliances.
Yes.
I'll stick to you, Bode, on the last writer for the week, Eedris Abdulkareem. We all know him. He's a controversial personality, and he wrote that article, Engaging Youth and Women before the next election. He actually solidified his write-up with the fact that the combination of youth and women is an unbeatable combination.
Exactly.
Do you share such sentiments?
Of course. The title of his article today on our newspaper is the youth and women can actually take out the old brigade. Yeah. And who are the old brigade? The political elite. The minority are the helm of affair of this country, which is at the detriment of the larger majority of Nigeria. And I like a point in his article where he said Nigerian women should forget about this, chasing this so-called 35% affirmative action.
All right, so Leah, were you able to identify any of the recommendations the four writers that we had for this week made?
Basically, Eedris Abdulkareem pointed out that women and youths can work together, bring out their strength, because women have been the bedrock of families, bringing up their children to the point of becoming a youth that they can both stand together and then work as a team in participating in electoral processes, bringing change to the nation and development.
So that's Eedris Abdulkareem's recommendation.
Yes.
Can you tell us some other recommendation from Ayisha, Osori, Adebola Williams, and Darey Art Alade?
Basically, women involvement, youth involvement. Youth should stop seeing themselves as tools in the hands of the minority. They should realize that it is time for them to bring out their expertise in politics. They should bring out their abilities, their involvement in electoral processes to demand change, to bring change into the electoral processes in Nigeria.
All right, so Bode, can you wrap it up with the recommendations you observe from the writers?
Adebola Williams called for popular participation with
Ayisha Osori,
specific address, to the middle class to get involved. They are working class, they don't have time, they should get involved. Ayisha Osori was specifically talking to the women. Get involved. Build alliances. Get involved. Then Darey Art Alade, in fact, he was addressing the youth generally, whether men or women.
And SARS.
And he underscores the strength of the Nigerian youth, that in the entertainment industry, they have registered their presence on the global scene.
Without government
assistance. So if they can do that, they can do a lot in Nigeria. And for Eedris Abdulkareem, there must be cooperation between the youth and the women to form a coalition that is competent to dislodge the old order.
And thank you very much, Bode Gbadebo.
It's a pleasure.
And then Leah Fatima Twaki.
Thanks for
nice having you here.
Thank you.
All right. That is how we wrap it up today on the Leadership Conversation series, based on articles helping Nigeria find a pathway to progress. Check us out on leadership.ng and our social media platforms. Stay hopeful and safe. I am Martin Tacho.